Hey, Joyful Journeyer, Anita Adams here, your host, and today I am excited to introduce you to Isabelle Zimmerman, a spiritual coach, ascension teacher, and the founder of attractingwisdom.com. Have you ever had an experience where you felt like something from beyond is trying to communicate with you? Strange things have happened, the signs are there, but you don't know how to interpret them? That's where Isabelle comes in, guiding her clients to read the signs and connect with their spirit guides. Today, Isabelle is going to share how to tap into your soul field so you can cultivate a connection with your celestial squad. Welcome, Isabelle. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for just uniting with me and connecting with me and just, the more we can get out the message that spirit guides are real, like it's time to get back to business working with our spirit guides. That's how I think of it.
Yeah, me too. I love these kind of conversations. Spirit guides, messages from beyond higher consciousness. It's just, the mystery around it all is so juicy and exciting. So I can't wait to dive in and learn more and learn from you and your experiences. So let's start by I simply, if you could tell us, what do you mean by soul field? What is our soul field?
Yeah, so Soulfield, that's what was told to me, and that's actually how I personally see it. I've done over 1,000 regressions. So regressions are like past lives or quantum healing hypnosis. So if anyone knows or is familiar with Dolores Cannon, that was the first technique I learned, was working with Dolores Cannon. And then from there, because I just love learning, I learned hypnosis techniques from other masters and teachers. And, that's just me honing my skill of hypnosis because not everyone is ready to go into a past life.
Right.
But we might be ready. You might be ready to connect with your spirit guides, or you might be ready to do healing work in this incarnation. So I'm a very sciencey psychic, and I self-studied quantum physics for about 6 years. And that was a really good foundation for me to understand energy and energy fields, which would then lead to you to consciousness. So energy fields, everything is an electric magnetic field. And the very elite and educated, you can go on MIT and you can go into the Royal Institute and you can find it on YouTube. you
Mm.
you can find, talks from Berkeley and Harvard and MIT. It's
Oh.
just it's just so amazing what's available to us if we just search, right? So understanding Michael Faraday really was a founder of electricity. So some people might think it's Benjamin Franklin with the key,
Mm.
with the lightning rod, but it was really Michael Faraday, and he did not have the math to express it, but he was able to draw it. And one of the things that he did was he took a magnet, and then he took another magnet and he moved the magnet down, and they saw light.
Oh,
And
neat.
he said, this is how light is created, by two opposing magnetic fields sparking and creating light. This is lightning.
Mm.
And so he drew the two poles and electromagnetic field, and then the CERN collider. So if you fast forward from late 1800s to now, you find out that the CERN collider, they have uncovered that everything is a field. Everything is an electromagnetic field, that there are no fundamental particles. So, like what we're taught in school around the atom and the electrons and the protons, we knew there was a lot of space because it's very, very, very tiny. And then we built the CERN collider in the 70s to see how small we can get to that particle. And now we understand there is no particle.
Mm.
There is no particle. It's all a field. So how does that relate to your soul? So,
I was wondering if it was going to come around.
but for me, I'm a very visual learner. So once I understood energy was all fields, and they even call it the field theory,
Mm.
once I understood that, when I did regressions, I would see many lifetimes.
Mm.
And I would be like, why is it possible for me to go into a future life or a past life? Which then you uncover there is no time. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, guys.
That's a whole other podcast.
Right. But it's really a field of consciousness. So your soul is a field of consciousness. And that's why I call it a soul field, because the science world really communicates around fields. So then for me, it just made sense to start calling it a soul field, because it's a collective energy field of consciousness that we all are.
Okay. I like that a lot. It's really it creates an interesting visual in my head just with this big field of all these souls meandering around. I don't know, there's a little it actually is kind of eerie the way I've got it pictured in my head, but it's an interesting concept. So this soul field, um, how do you access it? How do we access this?
Okay. So I'm going to tell a little story.
Please, I love stories.
If you would have said to me, Isabelle Zimmerman, you are going to be doing hypnosis and, and do this for a living, I would have said, you are crazy. I was in corporate America since age 14, verifying data for a company called Equifax. I was in IT and operations. So for me to go into hypnosis was a really big surprise. However, quantum physics led me to understand energy. Energy led me to understand consciousness, because energy cannot be destroyed nor created. So I bumped up against consciousness, and I read the holographic universe, and I read like all these noetic sciences. So I'm a very sciencey, psychic, conscious person. So science helps me understand the metaphysical realm. What is metaphysical? Unseen, right? But it's physics. Okay. So on that journey, I worked with a spiritual mentor. And then I started to channel, meaning I have the ability. So if you asked a question, I can go and pull that answer from my inner beings or spirit guides and channel an answer. So I was just like, what is going on? So there I am at work. Even though I could channel, it's still like, it's not like spoken about like, hey, I channel like Bashar, you know? Or like Esther Hicks, you know? So like me personally, I had to like kind of like sit in it for a little bit. So there I am at work. My spirit guides come in. They say, we want you to go right now on Facebook to Dolores Cannon. And I went, really? So I did. And I saw somebody channel. And they said, we would like for you to learn hypnosis. So one of the things is, one of my inner beings is Goddess Isis. And Goddess Isis, when she was physically incarnated here, she had sleep temples. So that was the words that they use for hypnosis in ancient Egypt. So you can look up sleep temples. They're in Greece, they're in Egypt. And what it does, it allows somebody to get into a relaxed state so we can bypass the ego and connect with your heart, to connect with your spirit, your soul, your guides.
Awesome.
And that is why I do hypnosis, because my inner being is goddess Isis. And I'm just physically incarnated as this consciousness of Isis and Athena and an ascension keeper. Incarnated here is now modern day Isabelle Zimmerman.
Mm.
And I have all of that codes within me that is now being expressed in this now moment as Isabelle.
Hmm. Interesting.
So
Yes.
when I do hypnosis, I remember I went to Vancouver and I just was doing all these students. And they said, have you ever done this before? And I said, no, not like it's Isabelle, like, no.
Mm.
And they're like, you're so natural at it. You're so good at it. And now I realize, of course, I'm good at it because it's goddess Isis.
Can goddess Isis appear in multiple with multiple people? So she can be with you, but she could also be with
Yes,
me, say, and with okay, yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And goddess Isis and Mary Magdalene and Yeshua or Jesus, these entities are real, and they there's a lot of aspects of us. So one of the things when I first started to learn about soul formation or consciousness formation, they would say to us that it's really, and Dolores Cannon uncovered this too. She said it's just like taking bits of the characters and the essences,
Mm.
putting it into that human incarnation. So this is why so many people say, I have a lot of Yeshua in me, or I'm the embodiment of such and such. It's because here on this plane of existence, we just think like this is a crystal, but this actually has a consciousness, and this consciousness can be accessed anywhere
Mm.
because it's not this or that, it's always and.
Right. Yeah.
But we think very physically here, very linearly here. We think of consequences. And once you understand there is no consequences, you're like,
Well, that's a dangerous thought. There are no consequences. I
no
feel like
consequences.
consequences are what keep us
Right.
making,
That's what's ingrained. That's
yeah.
what's ingrained,
Mm.
cause and effect. But it's because there's gaps of understanding. It's an experience.
Mm.
It's just an experience of energy. And if you change your vibration, it's a different effect.
Mm.
It doesn't need to stay. You can be very malleable.
No,
So
is
you
that?
drop the judgment, you drop that judgment of right and wrong.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's a big piece, and interesting that you would bring up judgment today. I started my day with the intention to move through the day without judgment. Holy Jesus, that's hard. You know, like we judge absolutely everything. Like, and so I keep catching myself in these judgment moments. I'm like, okay, let it go. No judgment. No judgment. Let's just be. And I wonder how possible it is to really let go of all judgment and to be in this field, this soul field. I imagine it takes a lot of conscious effort to be able to live in that state.
I find it is a multi-pronged. So because I've done over 1,000 regressions and I'm very good at data and I'm very good at patterns, what I have uncovered is until we go into your soul conscious field to heal the fractals or the wounds or the trauma of other lives, which a lot of people are not aware, but 90% of your fear that you experience as you is from your other lives.
Mm.
It's not new fear. So I always say it's like this. This is your incarnation.
Hmm.
In order to get a state of beingness, you do need to meditate. But in order to really embody your spirit guides in your inner being, you will eventually have to go to the root of that origin of life that created that wound. And it needs to be unified. And so, as an ascension teacher or a soul healer, that's the deep work that I do, because you've had many lives. So, for example, I'm working with this client, and she's kind of famous, and she came to me, and she's like, okay, I got to work with you, because she's at that level. And I said, absolutely. I don't do one and done sessions. I really do multiple sessions, because we can't do everything at once. I said, so I always say, let's just start off for a month. And we're going to put you under multiple times for a month, every week for a month. She's like, okay. So she has her first session. She could barely walk. Her hip is really bothering her.
Is this before she comes into the session, or okay?
Before she comes into the session. And I said, don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get to the root of it. So we go into her lives, and sure enough, she's a powerful healer, but her hip even bothered her in those other lives, because she took on the burden of the victims. And I said, they're not victims. You do not need to take on their burden of the pain. And then I said, is she taking on the burden in this life? So in that session, there was deep healing, because I bring in the other aspects of her and the other people that caused the wound and the higher self. And there's a lot of teaching in there. But this is the great part. So she wakes up and she's like, oh my gosh, Isabelle, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, okay, go to the bathroom. So she runs off to the bathroom. She comes back and she's like, I can sit on the toilet.
This is
like,
good.
I couldn't even sit on the toilet. Like, how does this even happen? And I feel all this energy in my hip. And I realize I've been taking on the burden, not only from this life of all the my family members, but like from my other lives. And like, oh my gosh, she's like, I feel so different. She's like, how does this happen? And I said, that's energy work. That you can't think logically when you do this kind of work.
Yeah.
Because it's emotional pain, and it might be from your other lives. And I can't work with you if we're just going in your ego, because your ego is never going to understand it, because your ego is only this incarnation. So it doesn't understand. And through hypnosis, that's how I can bypass your ego, because I cannot have your logic mind come in and say, oh, my hip hurts because the tendons are sore, or I moved incorrectly, or, there's no cartilage left. Energy is first. Yes. So I've tested this because I'm a scientist. So I was curious if spirit, because I'm only a facilitator, I was curious if another client of mine wouldn't need her glasses. So we put her under, we do the healing. I asked spirit, does she need her glasses? And they said, oh no, we fixed her eyes. And I said, okay. So she comes out, and I'm like, okay, I want you to read this. Okay, can you read this far? So we tested her eyesight, totally perfect. And I said, this is so flippin' cool. I can't stand it. The next morning she woke up, she grabbed her glasses, and her eyesight went right back.
What do you mean? Went back to being blurry or not as good?
Yep.
Okay. Oh,
Yep.
interesting. Okay, that was I was going to ask that very question. Like, is that something that you have to keep? It's almost like you have to train your mind
to enter it into this plane of existence.
Yeah.
Because it's all beliefs.
Yeah.
So you have to anchor it. So when I work with the client, a lot of my work is anchoring it. So so the other client with the hip issue, she called me, she goes, my hip is starting to bother me, but she was talking to a friend that she wanted to fix.
Mm.
And I said, you're going into that old thought pattern that they're broken. They're not broken. You cannot see them as a victim. You
Right.
see it as a soul exploration. You offer love and light,
Right.
but you show a path, but you do not heal from a place of victim. Now, Goddess Isis, when I first began healing, she would always say to me, she goes, the trick is you never heal from them as a victim. The trick is you always see them perfectly healthy, even if they're crying, even if they're in pain. You always see them perfectly healthy. And
I
that's
guess I guess that's the trick for the individual as well, is to that's the reprogramming, that they need to see themselves as perfectly healthy and stop the stories that I'm not healthy. And hence, so I'm starting to see the connection. So that's why you use hypnosis as a tool, because it enables you to, I guess, have that experience of being healthy so that you can then uh, do the reprogramming, the rewiring in your mind to accept the fact, right? Am I getting that right? Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly it. So hypnosis is a great tool, but if we don't change the belief pattern, you have to be aware of your belief pattern. Awareness is the first step. And then it's a choice. You say, hey, is this a habit? Is this what's going on? So it's anchoring new action, new behavior, new thoughts in this plane. And that's a very important step.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so are there some things that we as individuals can do who say may not be able to access a hypnosis, be it location or financial, for financial reasons? Are there ways that we can tap into our own subconscious and reprogram, rewire, connect with our spirit guides?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that I'm teaching, hold on, I have to yell at my dog. She's really, I'm going to show you my dog. Sit, 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 sit. This is my little dog that as soon as I get on the phone, she acts like a child.
She's adorable. And for those who are listening, can you describe your little dog to their listeners?
She's a little Bichon Frise and she's all white and she's about 11 to 12 pounds. And she is really just acting up right now while Anita
Wanting
and
your
I.
attention. Well, somebody once said to me, and I think there's some truth to this, that animals pick up the energy that happens in a space. So if you're creating an energy, and we're talking about the soul field and all that, perhaps your little pooch is picking that up and wants to be a part of the conversation.
Us.
That's cute.
So, okay, so to connect to your spirit guides.
Yeah, yes, connect to your spirit guides, and also the accessing, like that, doing this work on your own without necessarily having to work with a hypnosis.
I think it's great. In fact, I think everyone has this ability and it's available to you. There are so many videos on YouTube to connect to your spirit guides, to connect to your inner being. Practicing meditation is very important. In fact, when a client comes to me that has never meditated, I'm like, okay, that's a big jump to go under because they don't know how to relax.
Oh, that's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. So it's almost like that needs to be a prerequisite, is to learn how to self-calm, self-relax through meditation or other. I do lots of walking in nature as a form of meditation. Oh.
Absolutely. So walking meditation, knitting,
Mm.
really what you want to do is start to one of the things that I teach, connecting to your guides, one of the things of the exercise we do is drawing an image upside down. So I take a picture of a dog and I turn it upside down. And then I make all the students sit there right then and there and draw it.
No, no, what does that do precisely?
What it does, it forces that left side of the brain, which is your ego, which is the masculine, to be quiet because
Hmm.
it doesn't know the answer. Because you're forced to look at the image and the shape intently. And
That's
you
super
literally
interesting.
quiet yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
What a neat
Yeah.
little tip. I'm going to try that.
Yes. So another one that I'll do is we'll make a mandala, which is 3 concentric circles, and then I bring out crayons and coloring books, and then we draw symbols and images because spirit guides communicate via symbols and images.
Oh, that's interesting. I started doing mandala paintings on rocks a couple years
Great.
ago, and I've been getting the drive, the message, maybe if you call it, to pick that up again. Maybe that's my spirit guides trying to communicate with me.
Yes, because in the creation of the mandala, there are codes you are unlocking. There is sacred geometry that you are unlocking. You have to understand numbers are a human thing. Our mathematical formulas are just symbols of the math, but even our numbers are the symbols. And sacred geometry or geometry is multi-universal.
Hmm. Hmm. Love it. Okay, cool. I like this idea of being able to quiet the mind so you can get to sort of a deeper level of relaxation through drawing a dog upside down or mandala paintings or drawings. What's the next step once you quiet that mind? How do you, or is that what gets you into the subconscious by simply quieting the mind?
So you're getting into a different brainwave state
Mm,
once you quiet the mind. And then the next thing, all you have to do is say, "Hi,
mm,
spirit guide, do you
mm,
have a message for me?"
mm.
And then you have to let go of your fear and doubt.
Yeah,
I know, shocking. And see what comes. Now, many of times I will ask all my students to journal.
yeah.
And it's funny how many are resistant to journaling. But journaling is the easiest way to start to channel your spirit guides.
That's what I do. Quick little story. When I was working on trying to write my book, this is a couple years ago now, and I was hitting I guess a writer's block. I was just really struggling, and I saw an advertisement on Facebook for an automatic writing course. And I thought, oh, maybe this will be the trick. And I didn't really understand what automatic writing was at the time. I just thought it was, like stream of consciousness writing, which it kind of is. But when I got into the course, I discovered, much to my dismay at first, that it was a spiritual writing class. It was about connecting with your spirit guides through writing. And at the time, I'm like, oh, for Pete's sakes, for the love of God, is this really what, that big judgment piece was like blaring it's making its noise. But I thought, oh, you know what? I've already paid for this course. Let's just go for it and see what happens. And by this point, I had been meditating a lot more. I had been going for daily walks in nature. I had been connecting with God, with spirit through my walks. So I was actually, despite my initial reaction to this course, my mind was a little bit more open to it. And I thought, okay, let's just see. Like, can I actually do this? I used to believe that only the so-called gifted could connect with and channel spirit. And I also made the assumption that those who said that they could channel were basically full of bullshit.
Right.
Um,
Right.
that was my old, reality or way I looked at the world. And so I had these preconceived notions going in. But I surrendered to it and I decided, okay, let's just give this a shot. And I started this practice and it's become a daily practice. 2 years later, I still do it. And it played a huge role in helping me write my book. And I remember the first time when I really felt that spirit was coming through me in the writing process. It was so fast, like I'm forming questions and the answers were coming before the question was fully out. And I how I do my spiritual writing is I sit and I close my eyes and I sit at the computer and I type because I can type so much faster than I can write. And it was just this flow of energy and conversation that came out of me. And it was amazing. It was such a beautiful experience and continues to be a beautiful experience. And I'm so grateful that I opened my mind to the possibility to experience this and have this connection. So, just it is accessible to all of us. And I also recognize the resistance that you're talking about that your clients have at first in doing this. And I think a lot of us come from that place, and it's changing. A lot of us are starting to open our minds a little more. We're there. I believe we're in the middle of or the beginning perhaps of a great awakening, and so more and more people are starting to go, that mind is opening, the heart is opening. I actually think it's the heart that is opening, and when we have an open heart, we're able to receive, and that comes from a place of love, right? Place of love. So there you go.
That
That's
is,
my little story.
I love it. I love it. I also type when I channel. Now, also, let me ask you a few questions.
Please.
Isn't it interesting when you started to channel? Did you feel anything different in your body? What did you feel in your body in that when you start to receive spirit? Is it different?
Yeah, and thank you for asking that. It is how I describe it is expansion. It feels like this opening of your center that just feels expansive, which is how love feels if you think about it. That's what love is that feeling of expansion and growth and acceptance, acceptance for what is. So yeah, I felt very wide open.
Yeah. And it was your spirit guides that tapped you on the shoulder to look at that ad
100%. I believe that too. Yeah, I believe our spirit guides are communicating with us all the time,
all the
all
time.
the time. And I'm
All the
hungry for more. I'm hungry for more, I want to recognize when my spirit guides are there. And this is a conversation I actually have with my spirit guides. It's like I want to connect with you all the time. We are here all the time. It's just
Yeah.
you
Yes.
know and you have to look. I think you have to go in to your day with the intention to see and the intention to connect, because that's when it happens. If you have that intention, or it happens more, you are more aware of it, I suppose, and you see more, you experience more when you step into the day with the intention to connect with your spirit guides. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. So um, I was looking up Sanskrit. There's over 150,000 clay tablets in the British Museum. And I was looking at Dr. Irving Finkelstein, I think is his name. And he was just talking about how spirit and ghosts are written on the Sanskrit clay tablets. And it was just part of their daily life. They just understood that they were spirit and they connect to their guides. And like we use the internet to research anything, it's like a no-brainer. And so it matters not that we lost the disconnection because it was for our species
Hmm.
evolution. So it matters not. But now this is great. Now we can get back to connecting with our spirit guides and go more into joy and ease. So while I was researching this and I said, oh, I really want back to business with spirit guides, the lights turned off and on.
Hmm.
That was a sign from my guides. And Chris, my roommate, said, oh, that was weird. And I was laughing because I was like, that was for me. But I receive signs. And when a client is under, one of the things I always ask, I said, can you give us an example when your person recognized a sign from you? And can you give us an example when a sign was not received? And some of the stories are so funny.
Mm.
One was a client of mine in Canada, and literally she said, oh, I don't believe in spirit guides, da, 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 and a bird landed on her head.
You're
And when
kidding.
I did
That's
that
awesome.
for her, like, oh, you
Wow.
don't think they're real? How's
Wow,
this?
that's really neat. Did she have a change of heart after that experience?
She did. Everyone. I was doing a series of interviews. When did you know spirit was real?
Hmm.
And a spiritual experience is felt in your body. So one of the things in the class, Connecting with Your Spirit Guides 101, one of the things that I also teach is getting in tune with your body. So we'll start practicing right away, being aware of your body, because spirit guides will give you that feeling. That's why I asked you. You'll get a feeling, or your eyes will tear up, or you'll
Hmm.
get the chills, or you'll get
I call those
goosebumps.
the truth bumps.
The truth bumps,
Yeah.
exactly. And that is a very common way spirit guides communicate with us,
Yeah.
is through our body, but we're not attuned to our body. So the first thing, one of the first things we do is getting you attuned to your body and becoming aware of sensations within your body to slow down
Yeah.
and become aware. So I do an exercise where we feel the emotions in our body. All right, so we'll do one right now. So we'll
You
play.
knew I was going to ask that. Awesome. Okay, bring it on, Isabel.
All right. I want you to tell me a lie. Now, it could be as simple as you can say, my name is Isabelle. All right. Now say it out loud. And I want you to tune into your body and let me know where you feel that. Tell me a lie.
Okay. My name is Martha Stewart.
Great. Where did you feel it in your body?
I felt that in my chest and in sort of from here and then dropping into my belly.
Great. Great.
And I actually feel my heart is kind of going a little faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
Mm.
So now we're going to do a fun one. I want you to tell me or bring in a feeling of something that makes you happy. And it can be as simple as like a good cup of coffee.
Mm.
So bring in that feeling. Let us know what it is and tell me where you feel it in your body.
Mm. All right. What brings me a lot of joy is kayaking with my husband on the open sea.
So, and
Mm.
where do you feel it?
I feel it in my heart center. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I feel it it's a calming feeling. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that heart racing when I was telling a lie has slowed right down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So feeling the emotions in the body is
Mhm.
important because your spirit guides are non-physical. So how would you communicate with your person that has a body and you don't have a body? You are on two operating systems.
Mm. Yeah, I like that.
So
So
yeah,
practicing that, feeling the connection. Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. Understand it's a multi-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, right? It's just so it really, because I'm I could give you so much information and I don't know
Yeah, sure.
what
I get that. Just something that I want to share, and I think you'll probably just affirm this, is that when the times where I feel like I haven't been as connected as I want, I've taken that to my spirit guides, and I'm like, I just want to feel more connected. And the response is, well, do more of this, do what connects us. And I know what connects us, and it's my spiritual writing. It's going for walks in nature. It is meditating. And that might be universal, but there might be other things that help different people connect to their spirit guides. And I think if you want to have that strong relationship, like any relationship, you have to nurture it and invest time with the beings, the beingness of spirit, to really reap the benefits of that. So would you, it seems obvious that that's the
Absolutely. I've talked to spirit guides many times about this meditation. And I said, it's really hard to get us to meditate. And it's so important, it's vital to go within. And I said, so I try to make it into a game. I try to get everyone into a joy state,
mm,
listen to a story first before we go deeper, and just play. You can play happy music
mm,
that is altering your state of
right.
consciousness,
Yeah.
right? So if you are not ready to meditate, there are precursor ways or beginning ways to go ahead and change your vibration, because that's what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're changing your vibration.
Right.
And you may not be ready to connect to your spirit guides, and you may not be ready to quiet down. And that's okay. But you can play, you can draw, you can
Yeah.
go out and walks. Now, eventually, I do think it will lead to meditation. I think all the ascended masters of Buddha and Jesus and Lakshma, who was an ascended master in Atlantis, goddess Isis was an ascendant master. All ascendant masters do meditate, and I meditate every day. But
Mhm.
I I bring forth a lot of inspiration and ideas from my spirit guides. So it's a must for me. It's not a luxury. It's a
Right.
must.
Yeah.
In order for me to be a clear channel, I must meditate,
Yeah.
and then of course do my work, because what we really haven't touched upon is the healing journey.
Hmm. Yeah, I would like to talk about that a little bit, the healing journey. And before we jump into that, I just want to share that my meditation has become so much easier and stronger since I committed to daily walks in nature, because I think, like you say, it's almost like it prepares you for going deeper. So I think that's a really good point, that if you have a hard time sitting just meditating, finding other ways to calm the mind, be it through play or being out in nature or painting or whatever it is, doing those mandolin circles. Um, okay, so I want to talk about the healing journey just a little bit, because I want to be mindful of your time as well. I guess what I'm really curious about is it essential to go into past lives to heal? Because I don't really want to do that. I want to focus on who I am here today without drudging up lives of the past. Like, it really just doesn't interest me. What do you have to say to somebody like me? Get over
Well,
yourself.
yeah. So Anita, I totally understand it, but one of the things is you're thinking it's going to be emotional pain. And the gift of going into who you are and seeing how magnificent you are and how brave you are and how courageous you are, and to know your abilities from these other lives that you can bring forth in this current incarnation. I mean, for me, it's like saying, hey, don't win the lottery because you're afraid to say no to somebody asking for money.
But can
That's
I
how
but can I
strong
access that without going into past lives? Can't I
you
believe
will
in my
eventually
great
go.
potential as I am here today on this world?
What I'll share with you, and this is only me channeling, but what I share with you what Spirit told to me about 5, 6 years ago was we are a multidimensional being.
Hmm.
And you must understand you are multidimensional. And so, therefore, whether you see a hypnotherapist or not, it matters not. Your guides, when you're ready, will show you another life. And that,
I have seen other lives. And
yes,
I've been
your
curious.
guides are already showing you other lives. Now, they might show it in a dream, or you might literally, some of my friends have literally been knocked out and like had a lay. I know I've been told to like lay down, and they showed me this life with this woman with long dark hair, and she was in a well, and she was falsely accused. Her husband hadn't paid the taxes, and she was falsely accused. And I realized when somebody falsely accused me, why I was so upset was because of that life I was falsely accused. And I asked my guides, did she die in that prison? And they said, no. But this is why it's so visceral in you when someone falsely accused you. And I said, oh, I understand that. So the lies of your soul field, the reason why it's shown is because it's being expressed in this current incarnation. And this is the current incarnation of the ascension. And so it must be addressed. It must be looked at. And it's a multi-pronged thing. Not ready, it's okay. You're just not ready. And it's okay. But yes, dear one, you will be going into your soul field because it must be addressed. This all the lives that we unify our trauma and release our stories that we've held on in multiple incarnations. Your soul, your inner being, your oversoul knew that this moment would come. And it's something to be celebrated because you are now aware you are a multidimensional being. And you're just afraid to read your book. But when you read your book, you're going to see how beautiful you are. You're going to see your soul exploration. You're going to see the love expressed. So, dear one, how could you be afraid of your own beautiful book?
I don't really see it as fear, as more than it just feels like another thing that is so big to dive into. And I really want to believe and own who I am here in this world today. So I don't know. Clearly, there's a little bit of resistance there, and maybe I need to explore why. Why is there
Just like
resistance?
you channeling, right? So you had an outcome to write your book.
Yeah.
And this is very normal. So first of all, give yourself some grace. Like, it's not a big deal at all. All it is that there's no separation. There is no separation from any aspect of you in any lives. They're all happening now.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept that I believe in too, and if I have a hard time wrapping my head around at the same time.
So really what you are is just you're causing more separation within you, and you're not ready to look at other aspects of your beautiful light. Because you're excited to be the light that who you are now. And so you're owning your light now. And when you're ready, it will be natural and easy, and you'll just accept more of your light.
Hmm.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
There's no rush.
Okay, that's cool. That sits with me all right.
You're just like, hey, I just got this new flashlight. I don't want another flashlight.
You know what? There's some truth to that. I do feel like the awakening journey for me is relatively new, right? So I'm just like, woohoo! Look who I am. This is what I'm
I mean,
doing. This is so great.
toy.
I love it.
you're just not ready for another toy. You're like, I don't even need another toy. Like, why,
Right. I'm having a lot of
why
fun with
do I
this.
even want this? All that is, and it's not a big
Yeah,
deal. So you
yeah,
play with your toy as long as you want, and
right.
then you'll be ready for another toy. You'll be like, huh, I think I am ready for another toy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you're probably absolutely right. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
And it's okay. There is
Yeah,
no rush. There's no rush. There's no rush.
yeah. Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. I think you've answered all of my questions. Well, there's okay, no, you kind of answered that question. I was going to ask you why is it even important to know other lives? And you basically that's what you're talking about right now. Okay, good, good, good. All right, I understand you have a gift to share with our listeners today. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about this gift and how they can access it? And of course, I'll include the link in the show notes. But tell us a little bit about it.
So I have a PDF on my website on ways your spirit guides are communicating with you. And I think it's really good to kind of read it so that you can be open to ways your spirit guides may communicate with you that you may not be aware of. And that's a beginning. It's the beginning of opening your mind that there are so many things going on. The unseen realm is part of the physical realm. And it's wonderful to just explore. If you can just explore like a little kid going into, a toy store and go down, maybe like the doll aisle, and then maybe you go down the Lego aisle, and maybe you go down the craft aisle, right? There's just so much to explore, and it's all for your pleasure. It's all for love. But you just need to take a little step. It's sort of like Anita taking that channeling class. Not that she wanted to. All she wanted to was to write her novel, to be in that logic mind. But guess what? Her ideas come from non-physical. Your thoughts are non-physical. And where do you think your thoughts come from? Hmm.
The spirit realm, I suppose. Awesome.
So, you know, again, I could just give so much information, but I hope that really helps. I hope at least, at the very least, you get excited to connect to your spirit guides and just take a step, whether it's drawing the dog upside down or, you know, connecting with your heart. And so one of the things before I want to go is Anita, you and let's connect with our heart in a quick meditation so
Okay.
that they can feel meditation
Yeah.
just a little bit. Okay. So the first thing I would like everyone to do is just get comfortable where you are.
And if
And
you're
when,
driving, put this on pause and come back to it later. Just gotta say.
yes, you can, don't do this while driving.
Yes. Or operating heavy equipment. Isn't that what they have on all the disclaimers? Okay. All right, I'm ready.
It's a quick meditation just to ground you really quick and connect with your heart. Okay, here we go. When you're ready, take a deep breath through your nose and out your mouth. Deep breath in. And if you can't, even sigh out loud. Take another deep breath in. Very good. One more deep breath in. Very good. Now just allow yourself to soften your shoulders and just breathe naturally and easy. Nothing serious is going on. And as you breathe, notice the air entering your body. And as you exhale, notice the air leaving your body. Can you tell the difference of it entering and leaving? Is it more gentle when you exhale? And as you breathe in and out, you just become aware of the natural ebb and flow of your breath. And as you breathe nice and easy, we would like for you now to reach for the center of your heart. Reach for that beautiful center of your heart in the middle of your chest. And as you reach for your heart, just imagine it as a light going in and out, in and out, like a breath. And as you see that beautiful light, let's bring in a feeling of love and appreciation. Whatever you love or appreciate. It could be the sound of water. It could be the sound of the birds in the morning. It could even be the sun on your cheek. Whatever you love and appreciate, bring in that warm, wonderful feeling into your heart and allow that warm, wonderful feeling radiate from your heart, up your chest, down your stomach, around your back. And if you wish, you can even imagine it as a frequency of color moving down your shoulders and arms, moving down the back of your leg, down the front of your leg, moving up your back, back of your neck, back of your head, front of your chest, front of your neck, front of your head, and out the crown. And this warm, wonderful feeling of love and appreciation, I would like for you, dear one, to just take a peek and make sure every particle and every cell now has this wonderful frequency of love in your beingness. Every nook and cranny, even underneath the arms. Very good, very good. Don't forget behind the ears. Very good, very good. Now, take another deep breath in. Fill that belly with air. And when you're ready, flutter your eyes open.
Flutter?
Flutter.
I'm fluttering. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Isabelle. It was we covered a lot. We covered a lot, and a lovely little way to end on a meditation there. Thank you for sharing that with us. Oh,
You're welcome.
yeah,
Thank you so much for having me. And
yeah,
stay curious, everyone. Stay
yeah.
curious.
Thank you. Curiosity is one of those character traits that I think are such a beautiful trait to have. Be curious. What a great way to go through life is with childlike curiosity. All right, and with that, we will include all of the links that you provided to me earlier in the show notes. So that includes how to access the gift, how to connect with Isabelle directly, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the show, Joyful Journeyer. Please leave a review, comment, give us the thumbs up, and so we can reach more people with the messages that we have here on the Joyful Journey. Until next time, we'll see you. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.